So hello again, Alan Gilday here from createyourabundance.com and $50 Film School. We've been looking together at the traits of the self-actualized person. In the first video we looked at Wayne Dyer's commentary on the self-actualized person and discussed what this actually might be, what this term actually means. If you remember together that we kind of concluded, or at least I pontificated, that the self-actualized person, and this sounds like such a very complex, elevated, almost holier than thou sort of thing. It's actually, it's a very important practical way for us to be, and simply it just means that we're self-actualized, in my understanding, when we have taken responsibility for our own evolution, for our own happiness, our own well-being, and our own growth. It's interesting that Wayne Dyer was able to kind of outline three identifying characteristic traits for the self-actualized people, and if you haven't already seen them, you might want to go back to the previous two videos where we discussed those in length. But a quick recap is, the first one is that the self-actualized person is independent of outcome. They're independent of outcome. In other words, they're not invested in trying to control life. They're taking consistent strategic action in whatever outcome they've put their focus on. But when things don't happen the way they want to, or people don't react the way they want to, they're able to stay on track. They might get blown off course momentarily, but by and large they stay on track and they absorb feedback and they're able to keep moving forward. They don't come crashing down when they don't get the deal that they feel that they deserved, or when the relationship that was the be-all and end-all fell apart, and all the obstacles that we experience through the ups and downs of life. Secondly, and I love this one because I find it a direct challenge on myself, is a self-actualized person is independent of the good opinion of other people. The self-actualized person is independent of the good opinion of other people. And if you just take that in a way, you realize just how broadly applicable the idea that most of us are dependent on the goodwill of other people, the good opinion of other people, and it's a toughie. It's a tough one. We all like to be liked. We all like to be well thought of, and it reassures us that we're on track, and and it's great, and that's lovely, and everybody likes and to feel loved and liked and all the rest of it. But the difficulty comes when we have to have the good opinion of other people and we're not true to ourselves. And when there's that conflict, I think that can create a lot of problems for us and for others, because essentially we're neither being true to ourselves nor true to others. That's why I've always admired people who have come out as gay or bisexual or whatever the thing may be, because it takes a lot of courage to be true to yourself. And also people who are in any kind of minority, I respect those that have the courage to stand up and say, well, you know what, actually I'm a born again Christian, and if that costs you to have that faith, then good for you. If you stand up, and if you're a Muslim or a Buddhist or whatever, people who are in the minority and remain true to their own convictions, then they are so worthy of our respect, I believe. Finally, the third and final, if you like, characteristic of the self-actualized person, the person who is self-reliant, taking responsibility for their own evolution, for their own growth, for their own well-being, is that this person is not invested in control over other people. Okay? They're not invested in control over others. And when I heard that, I went, yeah, what am I, like Adolf Hitler, Chairman Mao? I'm not interested in controlling other people. What do you mean you're going out tonight? Why didn't you tell me? Okay, so you're instantly snapping in and out of this kind of discrepancy about what we think our real values are. We're not invested in control over other people, but that actually shows up in our assumptions about how people should behave in our families, in our jobs, in our personal romantic relationships, especially, I think there. And if we're honest with ourselves, I think we are invested and going in control over other people. If we go back to the previous video where we talked about how we compete for energy, if you look through the archives, you can have a look at that if you're interested. And we discussed some of James Redfield's insights from the Celestine Prophecy, where he outlined, I think very astutely, the ways in which we compete for energy together, and we filch energy off each other when we're not connected and fulfilled within ourselves. And I think that's a very important observation, insofar as it's a natural tendency for us to want to control others, because it makes us feel more in control of life. And there's probably some kind of, very deep-seated existential need to feel in control. And when we consider ourselves to say, well, I have no interest in trying to control other people, why then do we get upset when they don't behave the way that we want them to, or they don't react in the way that we want them to? I guess we do have a lot of assumptions, and it goes back to this thing of being independent of outcome. We have assumptions about how other people should show up in our lives, and when they don't behave according to our unconscious assumptions, then I guess it reveals that we are particularly invested in controlling to some extent. Now, I mean, this can show up in really sort of bizarre and pathological ways, when people get very, very possessive and controlling in relationships, and I've been there. I've been on both sides of that, and I know how unpleasant and destructive it is. And hopefully, as we experience these things, we learn from them, we observe them, we know what it feels like on both sides, and then we move forward. And we are able to kind of sidestep those potholes in the road of relationships, because we've fallen down them before and it really hurts. So just a quick recap: the self-actualized person is independent of outcome, they're independent of the goodwill of other people, and they're not invested in control over others. Okay? And those three insights from Wayne Dyer, that possibly came from Abraham Maslow prior to that, have really stayed with me over the years that I was listening to that, because I found them very, very challenging. I constantly find myself being involved in the outcome. It takes a lot of faith, I think, for want of a better word, to say, I'm going to keep doing what I feel is right. I'm going to keep moving forward in the best strategy I can, but I will let life, or let God, or let the wisdom of the matrix, or whatever way you like to put it, take care of what I can't take care of. And that's simply faith. Okay? It's letting go and going with the flow. And on that slightly confused note, I think we'll leave it there. And I want to thank you for your for listening and for hanging out. And again, like I always say, if you find that you would like to maybe create extra income through doing what I'm doing, which is just sharing ideas together, and your thing might be goodness knows what, but if you have a passion for it and you're informed about it in some shape or form, go out there and blog it, and you can actually bring in more income for yourself and your family. And if that's something that you're interested in doing, then click on the button below, and that'll take you to a video from a fella who's actually done that and helped a lot of people. And you can look at that and make up your mind whether that's something you're interested in or not. If it is, let us know, and you can join under my group, and we'll give you all the support that you might need to get up and running. And there's a lot of training there. We're very accessible to you. We'll help you, and I know that I can bring in people in my team who will be able to help you with the practical issues that you might have, or any concerns that you might have in terms of, like, well, how do I do this, and how should I go about it, and what's this, and yada yada yada. Guys, thanks very much for your time and attention. Be happy, be well, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers now. Bye bye.